Hey guys, I'm Isaac and I'm here to do an alternative pre-trip under the engine and help you save some time. Let's go. Alright, so we have our coolant reservoir. It is not cracked or damaged. There are no loose and missing bolts. It is filled to the proper level and it's not leaking. Cap is secure, not cracked or damaged. We have our intake manifold. It is not cracked or damaged. There are no loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure. Our intake hose, it's not cracked or damaged. No loose or missing bolts. It is mounted secure. Our alternator is not cracked or damaged. There are no loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure. Alternator is what charges the batteries to run the bus. We have our AC. AC is not cracked or damaged. No loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure. As well as our serpentine belt. Serpentine belt is not cracked, not frayed, not torn, and should have no more than 3/4 of an inch of play. We have a water pump. Water pump is not cracked or damaged. No loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure. Our V-belt. V-belt is not cracked or damaged. It's not frayed, not torn. Again, should have no more than 3/4 of an inch of play. Water pump, AC, alternator are all belt driven. We have our oil filter right back here. If you can see it, oil filter is not cracked or damaged. No loose and missing bolts. It's filled to the proper level and it's not leaking. We got our hoses in general, not cracked or damaged. It's not leaking and there's no loose and missing bolts. Our radiator fan, not cracked or damaged. No loose and missing bolts. It's not, and is mounted secure. Our radiator, not cracked or damaged. No loose and missing bolts and is mounted secure. Our frame is not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. There's no illegal welds, and it's mounted secure. Our windshield reservoir is not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure and it's not leaking. As well as our cap, not cracked or damaged, and it's mounted secure. And we got our spring mounts. Spring mounts is not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure. We got our leaf spring. Leaf spring is not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure. We got our U-bolts. U-bolts is not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure. As well as our axle. Axle is not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure. There is no illegal welds. We got our shock absorber. Shock absorber is not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure and it's not leaking. We got our brake chamber hose. It is not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. And it's not leaking. We got our brake chamber. Brake chamber is not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts, mounted secure, and it's not leaking. We got our push rod. Push rod is not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure. Cotter pins are in place. We got our slack adjuster. Not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts, mounted secure, and should have no more than 1 inch of play. We got our brake chamber lines. Not cracked or damaged. They're not torn and it's not leaking. We got our brake pads and brake drums, not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts, and mounted secure, and there's no grease. We got our front tire. Front tire should have even tread, not recap. Front tire should be 30 seconds of tread, and all tires should be 100 psi. We got our side tire wall, not cracked or damaged, no bulging and no cuts. As well as the rim, not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts, and there's no illegal welds. As well as our lug nuts. Lug nuts are in place, not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. And the way you indicate one was loose, you will see a rust pattern. Hub seal, not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure. There's no leaking around it. As well as our valve stem, not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts, mounted secure, and not leaking. As well as a cap, not cracked or damaged, and mounted secure. The driver's side is almost identical to the passenger side, except for the unique items, which I will point out. We got our circuit panel. Circuit panel is not cracked or damaged, no loose and missing bolts. It is mounted secure. Our wiring, not cracked or damaged, it's not frayed, not torn, none of them are exposed. Extra hoses in general, not cracked or damaged, unless they're missing bolts and they're not leaking, they're mounted secure. Our wiper motor arm and wiper motor arms, wiper motor and wiper motor arms, they're not cracked or damaged, unless they're missing bolts, mounted secure. Transmission dipstick, not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts, not torn, and it's not leaking. The way I would check the dipstick with the engine on, I would take it out, clean it with a clean rag, reinsert it, take it back out, make sure it reaches between add and full. Oil dipstick, not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts and it's not leaking. With the oil dipstick with the motor off, I'll go ahead and take it out, clean it with a clean rag, reinsert it, take it back out, and make sure it reads between add and full. Our fuel filter, not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts and it's not leaking. Our secondary AC unit, not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts, it is mounted secure. AC is what blows cool air inside the bus. Our steering shaft is not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts, it is mounted secure. As well as the U-joints, not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts, and is mounted secure. Our power steering fluid reservoir is not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts, it is mounted secure and it's not leaking. As well as the hose is not cracked or damaged and it's not leaking, as well as the pins are in place. We got our gearbox is not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts, it is mounted secure. As well as a pitman is not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts and it's mounted secure. Cotter pins and castellator in place, as well as a drag link, not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts, mounted secure. We got a control arm, not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts, it is mounted secure. As well as the tie rod is not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts, it is mounted secure. We got our power steering pump right back here, the silver, not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts, it is mounted secure and it's not leaking. We got our water separator filter, not cracked or damaged unless we're missing bolts, it is mounted secure and it's not leaking. We have our frame, our shock absorber, the leaf spring, U-bolts, push rod, slack adjuster, brake chamber, brake hose, brake lines, brake drums, brake pads, as well as the front tire, rim, lug nuts, hub seal, and valve stem. I will do the same thing as I would on the other side.
Let's go.